Hey there and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the most unique fragrances in my collection, and I decided to keep it to 9 because otherwise it could have been a whole bunch more, and so I decided to pick 3 designer, 3 niche, and 3 indie. And this is a video I actually saw on Perfume Realm's channel, so I will link her channel in the description box below. I told her in a comment that I was interested in the topic and that I would do it, so if she's watching, then I hope you enjoy, and obviously all the rest of you, I hope you enjoy as well. Don't forget to subscribe, to turn on the bell, and to follow me on Instagram as well for my scent of the day and just to chat more about fragrances there too. So yeah, I think I'll start with designer because those are actually the 3 I'm probably, I don't know, it's hard to say. I'll do designer, niche, and then I'll leave indie for last. So let's get into it. The 3 that I picked for designer, the first one I will talk about, here, let's see. The first one I'll talk about is actually Noire, Eau de Parfum by Givenchy. And this one I've spoken about before. This was a blind buy. I'll tell you, I think all of them except for one were blind buys, and that's an interesting thing to do with fragrance because it's one thing to blind buy something that is pretty, I don't want to say typical, but you know, much more of a safe, understandable fragrance, but it's a lot bigger of a risk to blind buy a unique fragrance. And all of these 9 are really, really unique. There's nothing in my collection that I feel comes close to what they capture, but also nothing, you know, outside of it, not even in my collection. So anyways, this is one I just love. It really, really caught my attention. I was trying to decide which one of these L'Ange ou Démon fragrances to get by Givenchy, and I really, for a long time, I've said this before, thought I was going to get the Le Secret one, the one that has more of a tea note, raspberry tea note to it, but I just last minute decided to go with this, and I'm so happy that I did. This is the most authentically, when someone says nutty fragrance or truly like almond like fragrance, this is the most authentic nutty fragrance I've ever smelled. Everything else, and I love synthetic nutty notes which get a little bit root beer like, or you know, they might turn really sweet, like in all of the Girl of Nows, for example, Hypnotic Poison. What else is there? I mean, like Armani Coach Satin, or Cashmere rather, those kinds of almond or pistachio notes, for sure, I adore, but this truly smells like slivered real almonds, and it's powdered because of that note, but it's not a, to my nose, like makeup-y powdery note or like very musky as if it's like a white musk. It's just really, really unique. And at first I was really thrown by how unique it was. I knew I liked it, but I was thrown by it because usually that kind of base, it kind of smells like what a base of another fragrance would be, if that makes sense, because there isn't really any freshness or sweetness or gourmand, I mean like a syrupiness to it, which usually nutty fragrances are kind of mixed into. This is kind of very, very much leaning into that pure nut or almond scent. So at first, the first few times I was wearing it, I really did layer it with something that was kind of sickly sweet, and then this was more of like the base. But I got so into it, honestly, that I started pretty quickly and early on wearing it on its own, and now I love it. It's so, I don't know, it's very comforting at the same time. I feel like it's warm without being a fragrance that you couldn't wear in the spring summer, because I've definitely worn it in the spring summer, and I've worn it to the lake. It also is one that does well when you're swimming. I find that it doesn't just go away, and I would catch whiffs of it when I was swimming as well. So yeah, incredibly unique. I would say for all of these, try to buy a sample or a smaller bottle. Do as I say, not as I do. But this is one that if you like it, it is a gem to have in your collection because it's so unique. It's a really beautiful bottle as well. The only bad part about the bottle is the bottom part here is glittery, and it's not as if it's, you know, underneath the glass. It's actually glitter on top, so you will get it on your hands. It does kind of get everywhere, which I don't love, but other than that, it's a real gem, and that is my number one pick for designer. Then we'll get to one that I've talked, well, I think I've talked to death the two other designer ones, but we won't spend a lot of time on Gucci 2 Pour Femme because for the many reasons it's discontinued and hard to find. But I will say, hype aside, I really do have to give it credit on the fact that it is unique. I mean, there are no other fragrances that I've smelled that have replicated this, and it's not even unique in the same way that this is or that many of the others are. You kind of can't put your nose to why it is, because I find that it's much more of a simpler and safer fragrance, but at the same time it's woody and fruity. It's fresh at the same time. It's feminine, but it's not girly. And I really, really do love it. I would hope, and I continue to hope this always, that Gucci just brings it back themselves. If not, I would hope, you know, one of those other companies that do inspired fragrances does bring a version of this out, because when I do go through however much mils I have of Gucci 2, I'm going to be out of it, and a lot of people have been out of it for a long time, but I really do love it, and it's starting just like just like Delina. I mentioned last week, Delina wouldn't last very long on me, and this was very much the same. It was like an hour tops for this, and I don't know what's happened skin chemistry wise. I've been wearing this a lot more lately, of just not hoarding it and wearing it, and it's starting to last a bit longer. Again, it's by no means beast mode, but I'm really happy for whatever reason that it lasts longer. And then lastly, we have the last designer fragrance, and that had to be CK2 by Calvin Klein. This, oh my God, it is so, so unique. I have to spray this on myself. For a while there, I was wearing this every single night to bed because I just could not get enough. This was also a blind buy, a very interesting blind buy, because I can safely say there is nothing that smells like this that I've smelled. It just smells like fresh water. It's really hard to explain. It's woody, but it also just smells like rain. And one of the notes is like wet cobblestone, and it just smells fresh and woody and not at all sweet, 100% unisex. And I just love it. I really, really do. And I've heard of people that don't really like fragrance in general still liking this as a scent for them to wear, because it really has like not a perfume type scent to it. So love that, total gem. And I have done very well not buying backups of this, because for a while there it was on sale at stores near me and I didn't. So I'm really proud of myself there. Then we will get into niche ones. So the first niche one I'm just going to get out of the way because I've talked about it so much, but I truly do believe it is very, very unique, and it's True Lust by État d'Huile d'Orange. I talked about this in my 3 That Smell Like Me video. I just love it. I have to spray all of them. It is really unique. It has very soft notes to it, like violet and and powder, and you think it has that side to it, but then it has kind of slightly richer medium type scents or notes to it, and then it has darker animalic notes and leather to it, and I feel you really get all of those elements. I adore this. I really was not expecting to like it after the first impression. It was one that the first time I sprayed it, I thought it was too much. But there was just something about it that, I don't know, is delicious to me, and I'm still really liking it. I did kind of take a slight break from this one. I still love it, but just to be able to play around with my other fragrances. But when you're talking about unique fragrances, I cannot not mention True Lust. It's a real gem and I really love it. Then the second niche fragrance had to be Unwashed Sunshine. There is nothing like this. There really, really isn't. Whether you think it smells like an apricot dessert or a sweet tobacco, I'm much more of a sweet tobacco type person. To my nose, I don't really get that apricot dessert scent, but it's just amazing. This is the only one out of all 9 also that I actually did get samples before purchasing, and I would really recommend that. Even if you're a huge blind buyer like me, I would definitely recommend you get a sample of this. It's a stunner. It really deserves all the high praise that it gets. Amouage in general, I think, deserves the praise that it gets, because while it is niche and is expensive, it is worth every single penny. Love it, absolutely love it, and I'll definitely be wearing it more and more now that the weather's getting colder, because it just blooms a lot more beautifully, in my opinion, when it's a little colder. And then lastly for niche, also a yellow bottle, Almond Harmony by House of Oud. I really struggled for the last one because there were a number that I wanted to pick, but I will say this is kind of unique all around. I think it's a unique bottle, unique design, unique fragrance. It's very almond marzipan-y. Again, I feel like there are definitely other almond dessert, almond marzipan type scents, but there is like a syntheticness to this that I just absolutely love. Like, it could really turn some people off, but I really, really love it. And all around, I think it's really, really beautiful. I've again really controlled myself and not just hoarded and bought a whole bunch of House of Oud. This is my only one and I'm really happy with it. And then finally we will get to indie, my 3 indie picks that are super, super unique. In general, in my experience, I found indie fragrances tend to be very unique, and in that way they are very polarizing, because you're either super going to be into exploring scents like that or not. But I will kind of go in order of like the most palatable and less unique to the absolutely most unique. So the first one's actually from Wicked Good, and it's Avo Bath, and this is a spray and scent. So it kind of, when you spray it, has it's slightly like moisturizing. It doesn't just spray completely clear. So I would say spray on your skin rather than spraying directly on clothing personally for this. And this smells very, very similar, if not completely similar, to the Avo Bath Bath Bomb by Lush. So you definitely have to be into that. It's very green and sparkly smelling and citrusy. And I will say this perfume mist is incredibly strong. I feel as though I probably now shouldn't have sprayed this first, because it's hard to smell other fragrances when you spray this. And the first time I wore it, I made the horrible mistake of being my normal self and overspraying. You do not need to overspray this at all. It will last a very long time. And yeah, it's incredibly unique. I mean, if you like that bath bomb, I would say it's kind of a no-brainer, and for me it was. But I do know that they smell, or they sell rather, smaller bottles. You don't have to get the full bottle if you're not sure. But yeah, it's incredibly unique and a very, very long laster. I love that one. And then the other 2 are actually from Sucreabeille. So again, I'll start with the one that's a little easier to handle, and it's called Aspet, which that name always makes me laugh. And this, it's very incensey. It's got church incense in there. It's kind of smoky but sweet. Yeah, and it really, really does smell like these incense sticks that I had and loved. I still have a couple, but I haven't used because I just loved the fragrance that they evoked when you would like set them on fire and then leave them in a sink or in their little placeholder. And I really, really loved it, and I was afraid I wouldn't be able to find them again because I picked them up traveling. And this smells exactly like that. So sometimes I'll just spray it just like this, a couple sprays in my bedroom, because it really does stay and linger in the room as well. So it's very incensey. You definitely have to be into that, and it's a sweet incense smoke. So really like that. And the last one is very, very unique. I don't wear this on me, but I do spray it and smell it just as, you know, the art of this perfume is very intriguing to me. This is called Byzantine, again from Sucreabeille, and this smells like very old vintage books that have kind of those very thick, almost moldy covers to them, which I know doesn't sound amazing, but I swear, I mean, if you like the smell of books, you'll be into this. It smells like old buildings, especially like ruins and stuff in Greece. Definitely give off this scent. And it's woody as well, and it just evokes this kind of imagery that it would for like the Byzantine Empire. It's completely in tune with the notes that are in this fragrance, and it is one of the most unique fragrances I've ever smelled. Again, it might not be most people's cup of tea of what they want to smell like on themselves, but I couldn't ignore the fact that if we're talking about a unique fragrance, this is incredibly unique. So all of these, their names will obviously be listed in the description box below if you want to take a look and see which ones you're interested. Let me know in the comments if you've tried any of these, if you're interested in trying any of these. I love to chat with you guys. And again, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like this video, and to follow me on Instagram so we can keep in touch there. See you next time. Bye.